Donald Trump just launched an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us, Iran. He had the nerve to say, immediately after launching an illegal and offensive war against a country that didn't attack us, he had the nerve to say, now is the time for peace. That's like walking into a bar, knocking somebody out and breaking their jaw, and then when they get up and square up to fight you, you say, hey man, I just want peace, bro. Now's the time for peace. Well, if you wanted peace, maybe you shouldn't have broke that fucking person's jaw. This is mental, what we're witnessing here. So, don't say you weren't warned. I warned you about this in advance. There was detailed reporting that came out, like, for example, from Sy Hersh. Sy Hersh said the decision was already made, not only to attack the Iranian sites, but he says also to do regime change in Iran. Now, understand something. All the talk about Iranian's nuclear program, it's all bullshit. It's all a smokescreen. It's the cover story that they're using to go after the Iranian regime and try to get rid of it because it threatens Israeli hegemony in the region. Because, stop and think about it, who pulled out of the 2018 nuclear agreement that Iran was abiding by completely? Donald Trump did.
We just bombed Iran. Oh, that just gave me the chills. I'm scared.
All right, let me conclude.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God.
Oh dear God.
Oh dear God.
This is a statement from Donald Trump. Quote,
Oh dear God.
we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, etc.
If Russia, China, and Iran finally decide to team up and attack the United States, they're going to take one thing from us. Knowing our defense systems are super advanced, they're probably going to go with our power grid. It's going to make us deaf, dumb, and blind. We're going to get hit by EMPs that are going to take our Wi-Fi, our electricity for months. So that means you won't be able to use your phone because eventually it'll just die out. That's why this is a must-have. This is the strongest solar power bank in the market. As long as the sun is out, you'll always have power with this. You can charge your cell phones, your tablets, your laptops with this. It even has wireless charging as well. You have the 2 huge LED lights. It's waterproof, shockproof, and dustproof. You can charge 7 devices at once with this. And if worse comes to worse, the sun isn't out, it does have a hand crank where you can power this whole device with. Don't be the person that saw this video and didn't think they needed it, and then desperately wish you had this when we end up in crisis.
For decades, racism in America was treated like a domestic issue. But now, white Americans are starting to realize racism is expensive. Watch and pay attention, and I will share my thoughts later.
My fellow Americans, I think it's time for us to have a team meeting, because who the hell asked him to go over there and bomb Iran? I'm just going to run a poll. If you or a loved one who happen to be American have a personal problem for whatever reason with Iran, please select one of these here buttons, because why? I ain't never done nothing to Iran. Iran ain't never done nothing to me. You know how many of Americans, how many of us die in war? I don't think... What in the hell is going on right now? None of us asked him to do this. We have so many other problems. Do you know how expensive war is? We have... Do you know how much gas is going to go up? Do you know? I'm so mad right now. If you voted for this, you're a dork. There are no other ways around it at this point.
People are asking me about this bombing of Iran. I'm not happy. I was hoping that Trump would go taco. And he didn't. And now we have to face the consequences. And, you know, Trump is a broken clock. Broken clocks are right twice a day. And you just got to hope, you got to pray that he's right about this. That's all we can do. I understand Iran is a threat. I understand why Israel attacked Iran. I just don't think the U.S. should have gotten involved in this. And now we got to depend on these three people for the health of the world. 1, Marco, a professional coward. 2, Hegseth, a rookie and impulsive drunk who never does his homework. And 3, Trump, the big guy, right? Demented 79-year-old who knows next to nothing and covers his face in orange goo daily. People voted for him. People told me I voted for him because he won't get us into a war. Yeah, well, that's not true, is it? To me, things look horrible about this, but you gotta hope that fortune smiles upon us in some way, that despite the incompetence of these people, it all somehow works out with minimal damage. My father was in the Polish army under Stalin in World War II. He was a translator to Russian officers, and he went through hell. And he used to say to me, you know, I saw those officers who said they were communists, said they were atheists, pray all the time. Yeah, there are no atheists in foxholes, and there are fewer atheists right now because of what Donald Trump just did in Iran. And, you know, prayer, whether it works or not, would be a good thing right now.
The president has announced through Truth Social, of all fucking places, that the United States has bombed Iran. Make no mistake about this. We just launched ourselves into this war. We just joined the Israel-Iran war. Israel drug us into this war. So everybody who said you're voting for this guy because he brought us no new wars, everybody who said you're voting for this guy because he's the president of peace, everybody who is as tired of fucking war as I am. I'm an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran. We just got out of 20 years of war in the Middle East, and this fucking guy has the nerve to fucking say now's the time for peace. Peace would have been not fucking bombing Iran. Let me be abundantly clear for anybody who doesn't understand. Iran's not going to let us just get away with bombing them. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now's the time for peace. So clearly this motherfucker is ill-equipped to keep us out of war, dumb enough to let Israel drag us into their bullshit, and delusional enough to think that this is what peace looks like. May God help us all at this fucking
war because of a piece of legislation from 1960. This is the order at which people are going to get called up if something was to happen quite soon. First up, all biological males aged between 18 and 26. Doesn't matter who you are, what you've got planned, you will need to report for conscription. Second one is people with useful skills. And again, in law, it's just the men. This includes things like engineers, drivers, logisticians, cybersecurity is a new one. And all of these key skills, even that BTEC in IT from school, is going to count towards a national asset. You are next on the call-up list. Third level is where women enter the chat, and that is reservists and veterans. So if you've left the military in the last 18 years, you could be getting called up to be part of the strategic reserve and get called up to go to war. In the Navy, it's 6 years instead of 18. Conscription in the UK ended in the 1960s, but they could switch this legislation on at any time. It's also worth noting that in the Scandinavian countries, women are included in conscription. So let me know, would you go to war and what would your get out excuse be?
Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first Republican member of Congress to come out against Donald Trump for attacking Iran. Now, if you somehow missed it, yes, Donald Trump has dragged the United States into war with Iran. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been very critical of Donald Trump lately, was the first one to come out, and she posted this. Every time America is on the verge of greatness, we get involved in another foreign war. There would not be bombs falling on the people of Israel if Netanyahu had not dropped bombs on the people of Israel first. Israel is a nuclear-armed nation. This is not our fight. Peace is the answer. That was immediately after Donald Trump had announced that we struck Iran. Now, she doesn't call out Donald Trump specifically by name, but she is definitely calling out the actions tonight. And she has been tested. Her loyalty to Donald Trump has been put to the test almost nightly. And now for her, this is the last straw. Donald Trump is talking like this is over, mission accomplished. But if Iran retaliates, he could be losing a lot of support.
I really wish I could give you guys a good take on this breaking news that Trump just attacked Iran. That's what I try to do. But all I see is just like I saw with immigrants, with protesters, with California, with his birthday parade taunts. I see a weak man looking for a fight, so he throws the first punch. Because he just attacked a nation with a $500 billion GDP. Iran has 90 million people, with 10 million living in Tehran alone. I'm sure he was pitched this because this is always how they do it, that you can just get in and out. But one way or another, Iran is going to retaliate. Just look at the Strait of Hormuz. It's controlled by the United Arab Emirates and Iran. 20 million barrels of oil pass through that strait every single day. That is 20% of global daily consumption. Does he think Iran is just going to sit by and let this go? On top of that, we have 40 to 50,000 American troops that we know of stationed throughout the Middle East. I hate to frame it this way, but the best case scenario is Trump is so stupid he thought he could get in and out without retaliation. Worst case scenario, of course, is that he threw the first punch because he knew they would retaliate, which would then put him in a position to go to Congress and demand a declaration of war so that we could defend ourselves, even though it was him who threw the first punch. The most infuriating thing is that Trump is only doing this because he's failed on every other front. 75 million Americans voted for a guy who was so weak and so insecure that he would stop at nothing in fulfilling his need to look powerful. If you're one of those people, you voted for a peacetime president, you voted for lower gas prices, you voted for an American first isolationist policy, congratulations, because you failed across the board.
We have some breaking news. AOC is calling for Trump's impeachment after his strikes on Iran. President Trump just ordered U.S. forces to bomb 3 Iranian nuclear sites without a vote from Congress. And tonight, Democrats are warning that he may have broken the law. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, says the strike is a grave violation of the Constitution and congressional war powers. She wrote, and I quote, "He has impulsively risked launching a war that may ensnare the U.S. for generations. This is clearly grounds for impeachment." AOC isn't alone. Representative Sean Casten said Trump's strikes violates the War Powers Act, which requires presidents to get approval from Congress before engaging in military actions, unless there is an imminent threat. No such threat has been proven. Trump has claimed the strike was necessary to protect Israel and stop Iran's nuclear program, but he hasn't shown the public any evidence. Under the Constitution, only Congress can declare war. Past presidents, even in crisis, held votes before launching military attacks. Now he is being called a constitutional threat by members of his own government. And for AOC, this moment is about accountability, not just for what happened in Iran, but whether the rules of democracy still apply. She says if Trump can launch a war without a vote, he shouldn't be president at all. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Substack for all breaking news and to follow this story as it continues all night.
Gone 2:30 in the morning. World War III is breaking out because Trump has decided that he would rather back a settler colonial genocidal state than do the right thing, and he has just now dropped 3 bombs on Iran. But where am I? Am I at home looking at the breaking news stories, offering you the up-to-date news? No, let me show you where I am. Let me show you.
Bill Station.
Exactly, the old Bill Station. Yes, my brother. See, even my brother over there knows, right? Look where we are at 2:30 in the morning, waiting for our comrade to be released. So instead of arresting war criminals, they're arresting peaceful activists that stand against a genocide, keeping them in until the early hours of the morning. Seriously, this is what we're paying our taxes for us to be arrested for speaking out against a genocide while war criminals roam free, while crazy loons like Trump are dropping bombs on other countries while they're starting World War III. What is the point? What is the point of all this nonsense if the whole world is just going to explode because of stupid, egotistical, genocidal world leaders. That's why we the people have had enough. No, rise up, my people, rise up.
President Trump has claimed a spectacular military success. We'll see. What is clear is that he has pushed the United States into a new war in the Middle East without any obvious legal basis, and that he has himself acknowledged the risk of escalation. As somebody who has covered Iran, here are a few things that I worry about. How Iran is going to respond. Iran's supreme leader, he had warned that if the U.S. did join the war, that Iran would retaliate against U.S. interests decisively. In 2020, when the United States assassinated a top Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani, Iran responded by firing a barrage of missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq. We may well see that again. Maybe most alarmingly for the world economy, it could seek to mine or close down in other ways the Strait of Hormuz, through which 1/4 of world oil passes. Back in 1988, when Iran mined the Strait of Hormuz, a U.S. frigate was badly damaged by a mine. I think another fundamental uncertainty is whether the United States really has put the Iranian nuclear program out of commission. There are some risks that Iran will make a rush to a weapon if indeed it still has the highly enriched uranium for about 10 bombs that it previously had, and if it has some centrifuges somewhere that it can spin. Fundamentally, I think one of the things we've seen in wars is that the enemy gets a say. They get to say about how to escalate. They get a say in how they're going to respond. And so I worry that a president who repeatedly expressed his determination to bring America out of wars may have sucked the United States into a war in the Middle East that we won't have a clear idea of how to end. And for those who glibly talk about how this will bring about the end of the Iranian regime, I just note that in my travels I've seen how at the popular level, Iran may be the most pro-American government in the Middle East. Ordinary people always come up to you when they find out you're an American. They're so welcoming because they strongly dislike the regime. They see it as hypocritical, as corrupt, as economically incompetent. And partly for that reason, they love Americans. I think it'll be a lot harder to sustain that pro-American attitude when we're bombing Iranians. So, has this been a spectacular military success? We'll see. Is it the end of the Iranian nuclear program? Again, we'll have to wait and find out. Is this going to lead to a new Iranian regime? I'm a little more skeptical, and I would note that a new regime might be a hardline military regime rather than a popular democratic uprising. What we do know is that we're in new territory, and it may well be dangerous new territory.
Trump just posted that we're at war on social media. And what pisses me off the most is there's so many people like, oh, he shouldn't be able to do this. It's like the checks and balances are not checking or balancing. Like, when will people understand there is no check, there is no balance, there is just unilateral power that he was given because he owns the Supreme Court, and they set a fucking precedent that he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and people will do it because they believe, they believe what he believes. He has put people in power that support him in this, that want this. And his brain is so fucking rotted that when he is thinking, it's his lizard brain instinct of like, I want to destroy and take everything. And when he's fucking out of it, they can just puppet his ass because he's rotting on the inside from Diet Coke. His colon is fucking festering from the grease of a fucking McDouble. And Iran will retaliate because they have to retaliate. Like, I was just literally minding my business today. I was so excited. I was going to go to a gay warehouse party downtown. And now my IBS is flaring up because the United States is bombing innocent people in fucking Iran. And like, if you don't know anything about the fucking military, When you get poor people at 18 years old going into military, you are able to mold their minds and make them believe whatever you are telling them. So when you're like, oh, these soldiers should just lay down their arms. Why? Because they're not fucking educated enough. They've been fucking brainwashed. They have nothing else. So many of them come from families that can't afford anything. And like, what is Congress going to do besides fucking boohoo about this shit? Like, it's so crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. But if you're feeling this way, like, I fucking feel exactly the same way.
Who is running this country right now? Is it Israel? Is it Netanyahu? Or is it Donald J. Trump? Because it doesn't seem like the president of the United States is running the United States of America. He is taking his cues from another world leader, and this does not benefit us in any way, shape, or motherfucking form. Americans are now absolutely in danger in that region. Like, what the fuck? I'm afraid for our Muslim Americans because they are 100% coming after you next. And I'm fucking pissed off at you motherfuckers too, because you're the ones that helped him get into office. And you're gonna be like, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. Yes, you did. Yes, you
Let's rewind. When Trump called African countries shithole, defended white supremacists in Charlottesville, and caged Latino children, it was not just being offensive, it was reshaping how the world sees America. The world was watching and judging. Travel bans, police brutality, white nationalist rallies. Suddenly, the land of the free looked more like the land of hypocrisy. Here is where it hit hard: the economy. Racism does not just hurt feelings, it hurts profits. Studies show racial inequality costs the US trillions in lost productivity, innovation, and growth. When companies go viral for racism, they lose customers. When cities are known for police violence, tourism drops. And when foreign investors do not trust the country, they move their money elsewhere. Now, even some white Americans are waking up. Racism is not just a black problem, it is everyone's problem. Because a divided, unequal society is an unstable one. Trump exposed the cracks and the world noticed. Now white Americans are asking, did we mess this up? Did we let it ruin our reputation? His brand of racism did not just disappear, it just went underground. And every time it resurfaced, it damaged America's image again. America cannot claim to be a leader of the free world while silencing black voices and deporting brown ones. The rest of the world is not fooled anymore. So here is the real question: can America afford racism anymore? Can it afford the lost talent, lost credibility, and lost global influence? If America wants to survive the 21st century, it needs to do more than apologize. It needs to repair, invest, and respect, because racism doesn't just kill dreams, it kills nations. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.